My name is Charles Meyer. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Distilled. Today I'm going to be talking about The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Why we do what we do in life and in business. Let's get to it. The first three themes: awareness, application, and preparation. Three vocabulary words: habit, willpower, success, and three key points that are going to help you with the preparation and application. The golden rule, small wins, and keystone habits. So let's start with awareness. You first need to be aware. You have to be honest with yourself and admit that you have a problem or a bad habit. So the first step is to identify the routine. What is the habit? From there, you identify the reward. If you're getting out of your chair each day from the office to go get a cookie and then you're chatting with some friends while you eat it, is the reward that you're getting a sugar high or a social high? You have to figure that out before you can move forward. And last, you isolate the cue. What is the trigger that's prompting the whole habit loop? From there, ending awareness, we have the golden rule of habit change, which is that you can't destroy a habit. You can only change it. So, to do that, if you're changing a habit for somebody else or yourself, you have to identify the cue and reward and keep those the same, and then change the routine. That's the golden rule of habit change. You can't destroy, you can only change. Moving on to application. To begin applying that knowledge, you should start with small wins. Small wins are seemingly disconnected wins that come together as a web of success and propel you towards your goal. So an example here is if somebody wants to stop eating chips, they can say, okay, to begin, I won't eat chips once a week, or twice a week, or I won't even order them, or I won't go places where they're available. Those are small wins. They come together to create success. Next is keystone habits. A keystone habit is a very powerful habit that branches out and affects all the other latent underlying habits in your life. A really great example is if somebody starts a workout regimen. If somebody wants to begin working out, they're going to have to decide, okay, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to go to sleep earlier, I'm going to wake up earlier, I'm going to stop smoking, all these different things. So you see how one choice of a keystone habit can go on to influence tons of others. You want to find those keystone habits and get as many as you can to make everything easier for yourself. So how do you create a habit? Well, you have to find an obvious cue, something that's really simple. Subconscious or consciously, the person has to be able to recognize that it's there. Next is define the reward. Make sure you or the other person who's going through with this new habit understands exactly what the reward is, what they should feel positively from following through with the routine. And lastly, third, is fuel it with a craving. The example given in the book is that a cigarette smoker craves their smoking routine from the nicotine high. That's what it is. The nicotine high fuels the craving to smoke. Moving on, we have preparation. And preparation, our key word here is willpower. Willpower is like a muscle. It fatigues. We can't just continuously tell ourselves we have to do this one thing or we can't do this one thing. Now, the best way, one of the best ways to make sure that willpower doesn't get depleted too quickly is to make sure we have a personal positive choice about what we're doing. So if we decide on our own that we want to do something, our willpower gets depleted a lot less quickly. But the best way to ensure that we have willpower reserves is to create a plan ahead of time. So that way, when the inflection point arises, and we're at that part where we have to decide, okay, if I follow through with my old habits, I'll slump back down, and if I choose something new, then I can become a new person with this new habit. When that inflection point arises, you just follow through with your plan. You don't have to struggle and say, oh man, I really want it. You're just following through. So that's how you keep your willpower in a tight reserve and make sure you keep having a big pool for the rest of the day. The secret is that willpower is a keystone habit. When you generate these small wins, you begin to build belief in yourself. And when you believe you can do something, you end up being so much more successful. You get keystone habits. You have other habits that affect your underlying ones. Now, when those two come in, your willpower gets bigger because you say, okay, I can do all these things. You begin to conquer harder challenges, so you have more willpower. And it's been found by dozens of studies that willpower is actually the most important element for individual success. So, to summarize, we have our three themes. Awareness. You have to be true to yourself and identify the reward, routine, cue, craving, all of that if you want to begin doing anything with a habit, creating it or changing it. To change, just follow the golden rule. Don't try and destroy the habit, just change it. Keep the cue and the reward the same, change the routine. Next, we have the vocabulary, your habit. That's exactly what you're trying to change. Willpower is your secret weapon, which is actually a keystone habit on its own. Last is success. Success is anything you can do. Success will come so much easier if you have these small wins and keystone habits and follow the golden rule of habit change. To prepare yourself for a new habit, you need to create a plan ahead of time. Write out exactly what the habit is, the cue, the routine, the reward. And when you're changing the habit, write out, okay, here's what I'm going to do when it gets to the hardest part. When I see the chips in front of me, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to say. Here's how I'm going to stand. Here's how I'm going to act. I'm going to smile like this, or I'm, going to put my hands up like this. When you follow through, you're not using as much willpower. So you're holding it and developing more of it. To end, creating the habit. Define the cue, define the reward, and fuel it with the craving. Follow the golden rule, implement small wins to help yourself get there, and apply keystone habits so you can understand the breadth of your entire life. When you apply these easy keystones, you affect so many other things and realize poor habits that weren't there. So, I hope this information is useful to you, maybe for changing your own habit or getting somebody else to adopt a new one or change a pre-existing one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you share.